going to pull everything up so that I can make sure and be responding to your comments and questions, things of that sort. And we will get going. All right, excellent. I think we are live. I am going to pull up everything so that I can be answering your questions while still making sure that the whole live video is working. Hope you all had a good day. For any other small business leaders who are opening up this week, my prayers are with you. This is quite the experience. All right, great. Thank you to everybody who's joined. If you have any questions, I'll be posting them or I'll be answering them. And so go ahead and start posting any questions that you may have about procedures, why we're doing things, how we're doing things, when we're doing things, and we will. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. For now, I'm just going to kind of do a quick review of what the email that was sent out today said. If you haven't seen the email, it's linked in the comments, or not in the comments, it's actually as part of the post for this video. So please check that out and read through that. It has a lot of the information that you'll need, but we also have a decent amount of other information. And so if you guys have those questions, feel free to ask, because there is a lot more to talk about. I just didn't want to stuff it all into a video all at once. All right, great. So, with Governor Abbott's, with his opening up Texas phase 1 starting on May 1st, we're going to try and start opening up the church specifically for Mass, so that people can make it to Mass. The big theological reason is that there is a value to being present at the holy sacrifice of the Mass. As you guys all know, the sacrifice of Christ's cross and the power of the resurrection are the source of our salvation. That's where our salvation comes from. And therefore, us being able to be connected to that sacrifice, which is made present through the holy sacrifice of the Mass, by our being present at that sacrifice, that is that's a great spiritual source of grace and of this kind of mystical connection to the saving sacrifice. We participate in Mass in one of two ways. Well, the fullest participation is to participate in both ways. And so the first one is to be present at the sacrifice. That's when you attend Mass. And then the fullest way to participate is through reception of communion. This is how sacrifices have worked from the very beginning. You can see it in the Old Testament that there were times when the people were present at a sacrifice, but they didn't necessarily eat of the sacrifice. But in the greatest sacrifices, you can look especially at the rededication of the temple and the Pentecost feasts at the later years of Israel. Basically, what was happening is it was this giant Jewish barbecue almost, that they were bringing these animals to be sacrificed. They would kill the animals. They would offer them in this kind of fiery oblation, but a certain portion of the animal was basically just cooked. And then the people were able to participate most fully in that sacrifice by actually eating of the animal that was being sacrificed. And so that's why it's really important for us to open up attendance at Mass. We're not like Protestants, where the church service is all about the music and all about the readings and all about the preaching. It's really good if the preaching is great, and it's really good if the music is great. But for us as Catholics, the most important thing is the sacrifice itself. Now, for all those who still aren't going to be able to attend, I do want you to know that there is still a participation in the sacrifice through digital means. It's nowhere near, it's not the same as being physically present at the sacrifice, but it is a participation through our senses. And of course, as human beings, we're body and soul. We're not only our souls and we're not only our bodies, but we are that totality of the two together, of body and soul. And so we receive things through our body, and our soul is impacted through our body. That's why we have baptism with the pouring of water and saying the words, "I baptize you in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit." That's why we have the Eucharist, in which we receive the bread come down from heaven, Jesus Christ present in his body, blood, soul, and divinity through our body, and that impacts our soul. And so also we can participate in the sacrifice of the Mass just through our senses, through digital means. Once again, it's not completely the same, but it is still a participation. So what are we going to be doing? And just for everybody who's plugged in recently, welcome. It's good to have you. If you have any questions or comments about our procedures or how things are going to work, or when things are going to happen, please go ahead and post those in the comments. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. And also, if you have things that we maybe haven't thought of, we'll definitely be happy to integrate those into the plan insofar as we're able, because we do want to make sure that we can open up to as many people as possible within reason, and obviously making sure that everybody is going to be safe. So first off, it's important to be very, very clear that nobody has a Sunday obligation right now still. So the bishop's dispensation from Sunday Mass still stands. Nobody has to go to Mass. If you want to go to Mass, it is completely your choice. You're more than welcome to. There's a great spiritual benefit to it. However, you don't have to. It's not a sin if you don't. Nothing of that sort. If you're in a high-risk demographic, either because of your age or because of some health condition, you're strongly encouraged to stay home. That doesn't mean that you aren't welcome. You are still welcome if you would like to come. However, we do strongly encourage you to stay home because of the impacts that getting coronavirus could have on your health and your life. Because we know human beings and we know some people are still going to be showing up, what we are going to do is the side door of Sacred Heart will be reserved only for those people who are in high-risk demographics. And so if you are not in a high-risk demographic, don't walk through the side door of Sacred Heart, the door that's near the daily Mass chapel and closer to the road. Don't use that one if you are not in a high-risk demographic. If you are in a high-risk demographic, come in through that way, and then the section of pews near the choir will be sectioned off completely just for people who are high risk, so that at the very least you all are kind of isolated together, and there's a lower chance that somebody who perhaps hasn't been as cautious won't pass anything to you. All right. Also, if you have any symptoms that even resembles coronavirus, please don't come. What we really, really don't need is for us to take this first step and a week later, 25 people who showed up to Mass end up with coronavirus. That's going to be a huge problem. It's going to shut down all the churches across Nacogdoches. It's going to get us in trouble as Catholics. And so if you do have any symptoms at all, please, please, please don't come. Just out of charity for everybody else. Those, especially if we have symptoms, we just need to isolate and make sure and take care of that. All right, so for weekday Masses at Sacred Heart, any of the weekday Masses at Sacred Heart will be in the main church. And so 25% of that church is right around 125 people. So I would love if we had that many people at daily Mass, but we never have that many people. For daily Mass, we are not going to regulate who can come and who can't, because we don't expect to hit our limit. For Sunday Mass, we do expect to hit the limit on at least several Sunday Masses. Therefore, For all of our locations across Catholic Nacogdoches, for Saturday evening Mass and for Sunday Masses, we are only allowing people to come if they sign up. If you click on the link that is in, or that's connected to this video, there is the link for the sign up in that flock note. Please go there and sign up online. Also, make sure and sign up all of your family members. So however many people are coming, make sure that they are all signed up, because that essentially, whenever it hits its cap, it will not allow any more people to sign up. If you don't do technology, which you're on Facebook, so you probably do technology, but if you know somebody that doesn't do technology, you can also have them call the office or email the office, and our secretaries will be happy to sign people up and get that going. All right. If you are coming to Mass, this is for any Mass, not just for Sunday Masses, bring your own mask. We really want to make sure that we aren't passing the contagion at all. However, we do want to make sure that people can be present at the Holy Sacrifice of the Mass, and that they can receive communion if they're in the state of grace. And so please bring your own mask. Also, we will have ushers at the Sunday Masses, and then the priests will just give the instructions at the daily Masses. But please, please, please follow the ushers' instructions and the priest's instructions. We need to make sure that it's safe, and we've got it all planned out to make sure that it all works out well. So just follow their instructions, and we should all be fine. Also, please arrive 15 minutes before Mass. What we want to do is make sure that we have plenty of time for people to enter in a not bunched up way. We all know that normally at Catholic Mass, 5 minutes before Mass, the church is about 10% full, and then within 30 seconds before Mass, we're at full capacity. And so we don't want everybody to be rushing in at the same time. So please arrive 15 minutes beforehand, and hopefully everybody will begin trickling in. If you notice that, oh wow, there are a lot of people walking into the church right now, we're just going to hang out in our car for a minute and let some people go in before us and wait until the stream kind of dies down a little bit. So please do plan on coming early. If for some reason you aren't able to take Sunday Mass because the sign up was full, or it may be, we are going to have our normal daily Mass schedule. And as I mentioned, I don't expect those to be completely filled up. And so we're not going to regulate them unless they do start filling up to that 25% mark, in which case we'll have to do signups. But for now, we're not going to do that. And so come to a daily Mass. And we can still be present at the sacrifice of the Mass. The Sunday Mass obligation is not there. And so, a daily Mass, you can still be present and receive communion if you're properly prepared. Welcome to everybody. If you are just now coming in, it's good to have you. Thank you very much for being here. Please post any questions that you may have about any of the procedures, or how things are happening, or why things are happening, or what we're doing. I want to make sure and answer everybody's questions. If you're kind of wondering about, well, what are the sanitization procedures that we're going to be following in the churches? We have a whole crew set up to sanitize in between all of the liturgies. If you're interested in helping out with that, we could use some more volunteers. And so please contact Hoy. He'll be able to get you plugged in to that. Scott, the website yet. Also, for communion, what's going to happen is have priests and deacons distribute communion. Any they immediately go and sanitize their hands, and then they'll continue distributing communion. So we'll make sure that nobody from one person to the next. And then also, we had some questions about altar server vestments. What we're going to do is, for all of the locations except for Sacred Heart, each altar server is basically, we have enough vestments to have a server have a vestment that they can take home and they clean in between the liturgies. At Sacred Heart, we don't quite have enough altar server vestments. And what we'll do is we'll wash them after every weekend. So we won't necessarily do it in between the masses on the weekend. However, we will during the week. All right. Ways that you can help out. We are going to need some extra ushers. And so if you would like to be an usher, please contact me. You can call the office or use that form on the website, or just send it straight to my email address, and I will get you plugged into the person who's coordinating that. Also, and as I mentioned earlier, if you want to help out with the sanitization, we have crews with all the supplies necessary to sanitize pews and bathrooms and any surface that people touch. We'll be doing that in between every single liturgy, and so we do need a good crew of for that. And thank you to the college students. A lot of them are the ones that are going to be sanitization. So thank you guys. And then lastly, we could use donation of hand sanitizer and masks. In order to really make sure that we're protecting everybody, we are going to need a lot of hand sanitizer. Looking at the number of times that people will be using hand sanitizer, it's at least every single person in the church daily be using hand sanitizer 3 times per mass. And we have 8 masses throughout the weekend, and then several masses every single day. So it's going to be a lot of hand sanitizer. And so if you have it, please bring it by the office, or you can drop it off ushers when you on the weekend. And then also with masks, the priests and deacons and ushers will all be wearing masks throughout the whole, well, priests and deacons when they're distributing communion, and the ushers throughout the whole service. And so we could use some of those. They're a little hard to come by, so if you've got some stored up somewhere, we could really use that. So that is all I've got for just kind of the general overview of what we're doing. However, there are a lot more details. So please post and ask any questions that you may have. All right. Yeah, I'm going to look through here. Great, Malu and Kathy, thank you for being here. Colleen, you're welcome. Okay, are masks mandatory at Mass? We are not going to turn people away from Mass if they are wearing a mask. However, please wear a mask. For the choir specifically, you guys are singing, and I understand that masks do cause problems for vocal production, and you guys will be rated off to the side. And so I think for the choir, it's okay. But for people who are just attending Mass, yeah, just for the sake of really making sure that there's no chance of anything, we do ask for people to wear masks. You can wear a scarf. It doesn't have to be a mask. Any of the normal things, basically, catch any of the moisture that may be coming out of your mouth when breathing. That's the most important thing. Cindy, to have you. Kathy, great. As a frontliner. Yeah, Kathy, by the way, thank you for working. And thank you for everybody who's working in the medical field or any of the essential jobs. I appreciate that you guys are still going out there and yeah, putting yourself at risk to serve. Concern increased number growing in the last couple of days in NAC, especially is holding off a sacrifice. Yeah. Yeah, Kathy, I did sit down and think and pray quite a bit about what to stop, or whether or not we were going to open up masses. And my conclusion was that the most recent numbers that I could get for churches, and I was pulling them off of the dashboard that they have. There's a website that has the COVID dashboard. And it seems that the 7-day average for Nacogdoches, if you get the actual reports, the new cases, it's crazy. I mean, we'll have one day with 14 and then another day with 1, and then the next day with it's a lot. But it seems that the 7-day average actually has, in a sense, flattened. So 4 to 8 days ago, the 7-day average was 8 cases a day, and this last week, the last 7 days, had an average of 7 cases. The 7-day average decided to go ahead and move forward with the masses because the curve has begun to flatten as far as new cases. And gave us guidance and be a little bit more cautious than they are specifically for that. Great question. All right. Gloves unless, well, yeah, my understanding is that as long as you don't touch your face, and you really have basically the cleanliness as if you were to wear gloves throughout it. And so we're not going to require sacrists to wear gloves. However, we will have available in the sacristy because the leaders will they're going to basically the whole mass and really interacting the most with people, and they'll be the ones opening doors for everybody and things sort. And so not required, however, available in the sacristies. So good question. That is it okay to wear masks? Gloria, great question. You do wear a mask if you're at all able. Jason. All right, it says, Faulkner, you mentioned that people would be cleaning in between masses. How will this be done in a timely manner? Basically, we have teams of colleagues who have been the ones who have been cleaning the churches every single night. And so we've got crews of them. They have been doing it for a while. We've trained on it done to make sure that things are done well, and they've been doing an excellent job. And so they'll be standing there with all the materials right at the end of Mass, and once people clear out, then they and cleaning away. Realistically, each of our locations right now, we don't have masses backed up one on top of the other. We have Guadalupe an 8 a.m. Mass and then a 10:30 Mass, and so there's about an hour-and-a-half gap between us. And at Sacred Heart, we have the 9 and the 12:30, and so there's about a 2-hour gap in between those. And then all of our other locations are only going to have one Sunday Mass. And so that is how we are dealing with that question. Yes. So a few different things. First off, we're really working on the sound. I'm sorry. The sound that we have, it has great reviews, but we even sent it, and we just got a device, but the new device is still having the same problem. So we're going to be sending it back and letting the world know that that's a very good option. And we will Mass. The times will change a little bit because we're not saying extra masses. We're just going to be saying the normal schedule of masses throughout. masses, it will be that are scheduled at Sacred Heart. You can go online and look. Sacred Heart English masses. It's Monday p.m., Tuesday at 12:10, Wednesday at 6:30 p.m., Friday. Saturday we'll have the Latin Mass, and in Spanish it's going to be the Our Lady of Guadalupe masses for Thursday, when we have Spanish Mass at Sacred Heart, and we don't have time. Podcast on Sunday at Sacred Heart, and the 10:30 Spanish Mass at Our Lady of Guadalupe. So good question. Hola, Padre. Hello, Ana. I'm serving on Sunday. Signing up. Do I to or just my family? Great question. Yeah. So if you are a minister on Ministry Scheduler Pro, you do not have to sign yourself up, but still do please sign your family. Excellent question. Cindy, welcome. Live stream daily masses, as you do now, at 5:30 p.m. So we're not going to do it at 5:30 p.m. except for Monday, because that's when the public mass. We will still be live masses, and so you can go to catholicnac.org, and that page, if you scroll down just a little bit, there is a chart there that has English masses, Spanish masses, and confession first. All right. Crystal, days have arrived to Catholic Nac. That's a shot of Purell. Linda, good question. How are we saying to respectfully receive communion? Right, yeah. What will happen with is there will be ushers there to ask you to come. They so they'll ensure that every apart, so you can be right up next to your household if you want, but 6 feet from the next household. We'll only have one line for communion. We won't do the two lines together. One will go, and then the other will go, and the other will go. We'll have to hand sanitize, right? Before receiving, you can pull down your mask, and Bishop Strickland is strongly encouraging everybody to receive on the hand. There are some people that just categorically don't. And so if you don't want to receive on the hand, that's fine. You can still on the tongue. And if the minister, so only priests and deacons will distribute. If the minister touches anything on the communicant, he immediately goes over and hands, waits for the hand to dry, picks up the ciborium again, and goes back to you distributing. Great question. Gloria. Can a fund be set up so people can donate specific? That's a great question. That's a good idea. I'll look into that. I know definitely if you send us a check with the memo hand sanitizer to that, whether or not we can do like an online thing, I have to check. But if you just send in a mail box around the left pillar of the middle center, so entering in when you turn to your left, still outside of the office, there's a little black box, and we check, and you can do it that way. Or I suppose you could, if you're coming to the Sunday masses, have the basket. We'll just put a big basket at the entryway of the church. We will make sure, obviously, that the money is handled well, goes where it's supposed to be, so you can just put hand sanitizer in. I'm writing that down, make sure it happens. All right. Made sanitizer. I don't know the answer. looks like Gloria is sanitizer, alcohol, and aloe vera gel. I know the distillery. And by the way, leave it to the Catholics to own the distillery. They started making some. I haven't gotten out to them to talk. I were at one time at least. All right, so that is the comments that I see. If you have any other comments, please send them in. Probably email. Any of our addresses, my email, Scott's email, the office org email, and we are happy to answer any questions that you may. And also, we are open for questions. How to do this? I think the world is trying to figure out how this is going to work, and we're just take one step at a time, learn from try to get back to normal while still keeping everyone. So please pray for us, and thank you for as well with us as we do figure this all out. There will be some changes just as we learn what worked and what didn't, and so communicating those with you guys. If there is anything we can do, know, we're here to serve.